The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. And not gonna lie, this is definitely my favorite show on Disney Plus. Not only my favorite Star Wars show, but probably just like my favorite just show in general. You know, just from those first trailers, you just knew that they were gonna take this seriously. This is gonna be like, you know, dark, gritty Star Wars show. I know George Lucas originally wanted to have a Star Wars set in like the underworld, as they called it. And yeah, this one definitely did the trick for sure. You know, it just has like the best action, the best acting, the best set design. I think the only one that kind of rivals it in a way is like Andor. But yeah, as far as like Mandalorian, like both seasons were great. You know, I'm excited for season 3. But yeah, overall, yeah, just a really great show. And you know, just the production, you know, the fact that they have like the stagecraft technology where they can like make any single background that they want. They don't have to have like a blue screen or anything. Like the actors can just kind of see what's going on behind them. The camera can kind of turn with them and the background with them. And then obviously like Grogu, my man Grogu, kind of taking the world by storm. Yeah, I think my only like negative with the show is that there are some episodes that were more self-contained. You know, they have that episode with Mayfeld and his crew of like pirates and everything, and they kind of go off on this heist, and you kind of feel like that was kind of veers off the rails a little bit, just as far as like the trajectory of where the show's kind of going, of like Mando on the run from the Imperials after taking the asset, and instead of delivering him to a Werner Herzog character. But yeah, it really does seem like, you know, it was kind of self-contained. It was definitely a bottle episode. But yeah, that was really like my own like criticism about the show, is that some of the episodes were like definitely more self-contained. Some of them, like even in season 2, where he's helping like the frog lady, you know, on that ice planet with the ice spiders, you can kind of skip that episode. Season 1 in my opinion was just like a little bit better than season 2. Just kind of had that dark, gritty tone, you know, had like that kind of western feel to it. Mando going from place to place on the run from the Empire, and then also, you know, trying to like, you know, make that money when he could. You know, it really had a really good like arc to that season. You know, like how it starts off on, you know, the planet of Navarro, and then it kind of trails off into different planets, and then it all kind of comes back to Navarro, and then actually fighting with, you know, with Greef Karga and Cara Dune against like Moff Gideon. And then, you know, the fact that they kind of like, you know, fly off in the end for more adventures was really, really fun. And then obviously, you know, Moff Gideon with the Darksaber still on his trail. I think season 2, like why it ranks a little bit lower for me, is the fact that, you know, it's kind of trying to be kind of like the backdoor pilot for these different shows. Like it's trying to spin off, you know, Ahsoka and at the time, the Rangers of the New Republic, Book of Boba Fett, and then obviously Mando season 3 going forward. So it kind of becomes less about Mando's story and kind of about these other characters coming in and then eventually spinning off, which was okay. But yeah, it would have been cool if it was just Mando's season, and then at the time maybe in season 3 they would have kind of done that more. But yeah, overall I think, yeah, season 2 was great. I know some people have complaints about, you know, Luke Skywalker coming in at the end. I guess I'm kind of jumping into the changes, but I think if I were to change the ending of season 2, it's like maybe, you know, they take control of that Imperial ship, you know, they rescue Grogu, and they kind of take control, and then maybe they kind of fly off to see Luke Skywalker, you know, at his planet, and then drop off Grogu that way, kind of like echoing Force Awakens, where, you know, they defeat all the bad guys and then they kind of fly off, they find Luke Skywalker, and then that could have been a really emotional moment for Mando to kind of give up Grogu to Luke Skywalker, because he sees Luke Skywalker, you know, on his planet, you know, setting up the new Jedi Temple with those little kind of robot droids that we see in Book of Boba Fett later on. Mando realizes like, yeah, this is where Grogu belongs. You know, I have to give him up. You know, I have to kind of sacrifice my own happiness, so to speak, and then give Grogu up to Luke Skywalker, because, you know, he's obviously Force sensitive, and, you know, he needs a Jedi to train him in the Jedi arts and everything. You know, that could have been a good, you know, springboard off for, you know, season 3 of Amanda, or I guess that storyline kind of gets picked back up again in Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, honestly, that's really like my only change. And then the obvious one of the deepfake technology with Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, where it looked very, very jarring. And then one guy on YouTube who did like, hey, Lucasfilm, you know, I did a better CGI recreation of Luke Skywalker, and like, here you go. And then he actually got hired onto Book of Boba Fett to do like the deepfake technology of Luke Skywalker, which I thought, yeah, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, that's like my only criticism about that. It's just like, yeah, the kind of off-putting CGI recreation of Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi era. Overall, yeah, I love Mandalorian. I'm excited for season 3 and excited to see Mando and Grogu's relationship develop, and, you know, how they're going to get more involved in the Mandalore culture, and, you know, see how the Empire factors into all that, and, you know, his relationship with Bo-Katan, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, great show. All right, now we move on to The Mandalorian season 3 and 4. I'll just jump into season 4 just because we obviously don't really know much about it. I did some research, and apparently Jon Favreau has been writing season 4, And the actor who plays Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito, has been saying that, there's going to be a season 4 and that's going to really give you answers and everything. So I'm excited for that. Like, obviously, I don't really know what the story's going to be because we haven't seen season 3. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of address that really quickly before I go into my thoughts for season 3. But as for season 3, I'm hoping that we kind of get more like the relationship between Mando and Grogu. At the end of Book of Boba Fett, they kind of just fly off into the sunset, the twin sunsets. But obviously, they're going to kind of get wrapped up more into the fight with everything, with like Bo-Katan and Mandalore, and consequences of like removing his helmet at the end of season 2, and then finding out from the armorer. So it looks like, at least from the start of it, it's going to kind of be Mando and Grogu on the run, and then slowly but surely they're kind of drawn back into the fight, because Mando's been kind of brainwashed by this whole Mandalorian culture from like the armorer and the other Mandalorians. So I'm hoping that this is kind of his like redemption arc where he's not really influenced by the armor or anything, but he's really kind of making his own decisions and his own choices. Yeah, I'm excited to see Bo-Katan and their kind of the different Mandalorian factions and the different kind of belief systems that they have. And I'm hoping to see more of like the Mandalorian culture because, we're obviously going to be going to Mandalore and seeing how everything was destroyed in like the Night of a Thousand Tears, how Death Watch was raised up and everything. I'm excited to see the conflict that Mando and Bo-Katan have, for the throne, so to speak. Maybe this can be kind of like a Game of Thrones in the Star Wars universe, the whole conflict with like the Darksaber and who's going to rule Mandalore, because technically Mando has the Darksaber and he was trying to give it back to Bo-Katan, but since Bo-Katan didn't like win it in combat, she's not the true ruler of Mandalore. So I'm hoping that we kind of get like a battle between the two of them, like an honorable battle or something, or maybe it'll be Mando joining up with Bo-Katan and they're kind of going after the Armorer's faction, and then everything kind of gets settled out at the very end where Mando's fully broken himself away from his previous faction and now he's kind of joining in with Bo-Katan out with her faction, and they're kind of like becoming the true versions of what Mandalorian should be. And that can kind of lead into season 4, whatever the storyline may be. Maybe there's like a bigger war going on between like the true Mandalorians and between like the Death Watch kind of cult society of the Mandalorian. It also looks like we're gonna have our old characters, like Grief Karga, Moff Gideon, Dr. Pershing, Pelimoto, all these different characters that we kind of left off in season 2. We kind of briefly saw it in like Book of Boba Fett with some of them, but it'd be good to kind of wrap up their storylines as well. It looks like Grief Karga is like the head of Navarro, and like Navarro is more of like a peaceful planet now. You see those salacious crumb creatures, in the trees and everything. They're all peaceful. So it looks like he's going to be joined to the fight. It looks like Dr. Pershing, I've kind of heard theories like he might be joining the rebellion. So maybe, switching sides and, kind of be like the inside man for the rebellion and to kind of take down the Empire. Like Moff Gideon was obviously captured by the characters. So he's probably still stewing and probably in his jail cell. And maybe there'll be like this great breakout. I know there's like the scene of like the Mandalorians in the trailer kind of like dropping down and like flying around. I think that was Navarro that they were flying on top of I could be wrong, but maybe in the chaos Moff Gideon will break out, and then he'll kind of rejoin the Empire, and then in season 4 there'll be kind of like more of like a war going on and everything. But yeah, overall I'm really excited for this season. I loved the first 2 seasons. I think I loved season 1 a little bit more than season 2, but yeah, overall like both seasons were great. I loved their little cameos in Book of Boba Fett. I'm excited to see how this whole conflict kind of gets resolved or not resolved in season 3, and then obviously how it goes in season 4 since we got confirmation for that. But yeah, we'll see. It's Dave and John. So they haven't steered us wrong yet. So, I'm excited to see what happens, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.